57 kg Olympics. We're going to start rolling out kind of our Olympic previews now because we're just five weeks away,
So close.
I believe, from the start of the Paris Games. So we're going to start at the lowest weight, 57 kilograms. We know our top 8 seeds at every weight, and then the remaining 8 athletes are drawn in. So at 57 kilograms, your number 1 seed, Stefan Micic. Number 2, Ray Higuchi. I'm not going to go through all of them. If you're watching, you can see the bracket going on right now. If you're listening, we'll get into the weeds here.
Can we get it on the big dog too, Josh, just so I can see it? Because it's a little small for me.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Mr. Four Eyes here.
Can you see it, LASIK?
Yeah, I got laser eye vision.
Yeah, you got PEDs of the eyes.
Really?
But yeah, if it was up here, I'd be able to, because I can't really tell, and I didn't print off the bracket. They don't need to see it, just so I see it. Yeah, you can have it on the screen for them, and then I can just look over here.
But who do we think are probably the favorites here? And then some of your contenders, some dark horses, stuff like that.
Okay, well, I went by Kozak's list, and maybe we just take Kozak's list of the favorites, contenders, dark horses.
He's a smart guy. I trust him.
Yeah, we should operate under the idea that he's an authority, because he is. But he said the favorites are Stefan Micic,
True,
Zelim Abakarov, and Ray Higuchi. Do you agree with this list? These 3 guys. Do we think these are the 3?
Kind of depends on how you define favorite, because none of those guys were his pick to win gold, and a lot of people are probably picking to win gold in Spencer Lee.
Yeah.
So Spencer doesn't have the international accolades. Obviously, he hasn't wrestled on the senior level internationally that much, but he is a guy I think just about everybody in the world, not even just America, the world too, they know Spencer Lee because of how many age level world titles he won. Can win Olympic gold.
Yeah, but we'll get into Spencer Lee more later.
Yeah.
Right now, we'll talk about the top 3 contenders, which I think Stevan, Abakarov, and Higuchi are, because Stevan's the returning world champ. Higuchi only lost to Stevan last year, and Abakarov is a guy who dominated. He beat Stevan and Gilman to win a world title in 2022.
Yes.
That was his first year outside of Russia, first year able to compete at a Worlds. And then his only loss was to Stevan. He beat Aguyev too for bronze last year. So I think that absolutely these guys have pretty much only lost to each other recently. Yeah. And I think that we kind of talked about Higuchi being, well, I don't know. Do you want to talk about who's the biggest threat to Spencer, or do you want to dig more into like the other contenders of the weight first?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Well, one, I think Higuchi has never faced Abakarov, correct? They have not met?
As far as I know.
Okay, I don't think they have. So that's an interesting what if, because if you go back to the Abakarov-Micic match, basically a one-sequence match. If they go for Abakarov, he probably wins that match. Stevan, great chest wrap. He got the 4, and so he wins. But that's a super close match. I feel like all 3 of these are really close. Stevan really did a great job against Higuchi. Now, what was your question?
I was asking, do you want to dive more into these guys? Do you want to go into the contenders? Do you want to talk about how Spencer looks against these guys?
I just think these guys are the 3 most proven at the senior level. I mean, what Stevan did, here's the case for all of them. Stevan ran an absolute gauntlet. He beat every guy. Mm-hmm. Like all the guys, if you lined them all up, these are the best guys at 57. He literally beat them all.
And Aguyev is a notable name missing here.
And of course, there's no Aguyev. He would be here. Even though he was 5th last year. Ray Higuchi, 2nd last year. He's he's a former Olympic silver. Dude's just really good. He's got it from everywhere. He can attack both sides really well. Really solid parterre. Maybe of the favorites, I think he's the best top parterre guy.
Another notable thing about these 3 guys is they all have wrestled at 65 kilos before.
I don't know why Abakarov is small. I've seen him wrestle at 61. He is too little.
Higuchi beat Odoguro at the
Now you want cutting weight.
Emperor's. Well, I'm just talking about how big these guys are. Higuchi beat Odoguro at the Emperor's Cup in 2019. And Odoguro went on to qualify for the Olympics and win the title that later that year. So Higuchi not only has had success at 57, but also 65.
He's super, super good.
Same with Abakarov. Abakarov has beat Stevan at 65. They've wrestled each other at 65 at the Mediterranean Games.
Yeah.
These are all giant 57 kilogram guys.
Yeah. I don't think Abakarov is, but he's awesome at 57. So the case for Abakarov, he's the world champ at 22. Narrow loss to Stevan. He beat Aguyev. He was the world champ the year previous, beating Gilman. When you watch this guy, I mean, his arm drags are absolutely sick, and he's really fast. To me, athletically, I think he's probably the best overall athlete at the weight. Maybe Spencer's in that category.
His parterre is really good.
Yes, really good. Really good on top. Well, I don't know if he's as good as Higuchi.
I was talking about Higuchi. Wait, were you talking about Abakarov?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
Higuchi.
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, no, he's okay on top, actually. So we actually have the bracket here. So 8 are seeded, 8 are not. Let's get into our contenders, because that was a decent group too. Read those, because I can't see my paper from here.
Contenders for the title?
Oh, we have a contenders category.
Spencer Lee, Hartunian, Mongush, Abdulayev, Sherwat, and Mongush. Did I say?
Twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mongush twice.
He's on there twice. He made double enter. I have watching Mongush. Mongush is fine. He's really solid for Russia.
Yeah.
But as I've been, looking at the pickle that Russia is currently in, and just talking to Kozak, I'll just say that's part of it. The depth in Russia is not what it used to be. It's not close. Now, there's a couple factors. One, they have so many good guys that are wrestling for other countries. They have been
Abakarov.
Abakarov's a great example. They have been gutted by transfers. Musakayev, Abakarov, Tazudinov, all transfers, and there's others. So that kills their depth. But those guys have kind of been around and happening, and they've had transfers in the past, and it hasn't impacted them like this has. So which reveals just the overall lack of depth that they have. It kind of reminds us where Team USA was, where we had these killer ones at almost every weight. But it's like, dude, if Jordan wasn't there, or if this guy wasn't going, it's like we'd be in trouble at this weight. But thank goodness we have that guy. That's how I feel Russia is. And it wouldn't really matter that much if they weren't in this, global, if they weren't in a war right now and getting kicked out, having certain wrestlers kicked out. But it really does reveal their depth issue. And I think since COVID, we've seen it really fall off. It could be just the war, but
Can I rebuttal?
yeah,
I don't think they've fallen off. I mean, Mongush is like their number 6 guy at 57 kg, and he's gonna be.
Who's their number 2? Who's their number 2?
Yuguyev. Here, let me pull it up. I did the Russian rankings after Russian Nationals, and I had this guy ranked number 6.
I'm pretty sure he's been towards the top, didn't
Yeah, he's been towards the top, but
he? Wrestled Aguyev in the finals of Russian Nationals, didn't he?
this year, no, he went 1-1. He went 1-1 at Russian Nationals this year.
So they
took
just
bronze in Russia.
Idrisov is their number 2. Pavlov 3.
dog.
I know, like the dog. Medikanov 4. Gamzada 5. Then Mongush 6.
Yeah.
So like this guy's. I don't think he will medal. He's not a pick, but he's like a threat to medal.
He's U23 world champ.
Whereas like go to America's number 6, not our 2 or 3, but like our 6.
Yeah.
And we're not a threat to medal at any weight.
Yeah.
I don't think Mongush is a threat to medal, is my point. I do not think that's going to happen.
I don't either, but
I
I think he's a contender to medal.
Who's our 6th?
I'm gonna pull that. I'm gonna look that.
Probably like someone like Marcus Blaze, Jax Forrest.
Well, I don't. It's tough to say at 57 because a lot of guys didn't continue to wrestle. Like Marcus Blaze took 3rd and made the national team.
That's why I said-
without beating any senior
That's
level
what I'm
guys.
saying.
Yeah.
I think our 6th guy could go and do just as well.
Our
as
6th guy could be like a Suriano or like a
Dayton. Yeah, absolutely. So I would push back, repush.
Well, I just
But
don't.
rebut.
I just don't think they've fallen off like you.
Oh, I
said
don't.
They have. There's been a decline, but I think that has more to do with the transfers that they're losing. Now they're losing their best number 2s and 3s.
The other, I mean, it is crazy. Like, when you're talking about that top 6 for Russia, 4 out of the 5 were from Dagestan, which means probably they're not going to get past that screening process or whatever because of the war. So that is weird. That is a bizarre thing, and we don't. It's like you don't get to see those guys wrestle that often unless you're like really watching like the Russian tournaments. So
You gotta be nerding pretty hard.
Yeah.
So on this contenders list, the big name here is obviously the name we're behind, along with Stevan and Roman and
Stefan's
Darren.
not a contender. He's a favorite.
I know, but guy we're getting behind is Spencer Lee, and he's a tough one to sort of place because as JD mentioned or maybe alluded to, Kozak picked Spencer to win the Olympics. And while not listing him as a favorite, and you can see why, because on the one hand, Spencer has not lost at the senior level, so he's obviously a contender. But on the other hand, he hasn't beaten the level of guys that Stevan and Ray and Abakarov have, and for that reason, there is a doubt. And I think if Spencer 10-0 Zhao, I wonder if we get him in the favorites category. I wonder if that is the match that's just planting the seed of maybe not. Because otherwise, if he just chews through everyone like he has basically everyone else, then maybe it's a different story, right?
I feel like there's still doubt. I feel like there's always slight doubt until you beat the guy. I mean, he did beat Thomas, but there's always some like, yeah, but he still hasn't done it yet.
People point to his win over Gilman, and I think that it's obviously
2 times.
both of his wins over Gilman. I think it's obvious they're obviously great wins, but Gilman himself had not cracked this tier really. He won in 2021, but didn't beat any of guys like that in 2022. Huh?
Did you just say Gilman isn't in a top tier?
Yeah, bro.
He was
Bro,
not. He didn't.
bro.
He didn't beat these.
Put on the dumb take helmet or these sunglasses.
Bro,
that was a bad take.
He didn't. He
That
lost.
was a bad take.
He lost to Abakarov. Higuchi wasn't at the weight.
Yeah, Olympic.
He
bronze.
didn't beat. He'd never beat Uguyev. Like he didn't. He didn't crack that tier. That top 3 of those guys.
He's literally a bronze and silver. I mean, he was bronze at the Olympics.
And world
I'm saying-
champion.
If we were sending Gilman instead of Spencer, would you put him in the favorites category? You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to.
He'd be a contender.
Yeah. So that's the
don't-
point I'm trying to make here.
He might still be in that tier.
I don't think he'd put him in the favorites after not wrestling hardly at all. You can't go from world silver losing 2 to Zane Richards and then back on the team but no international wins and be a favorite.
Yeah, I forgot he lost to Zane Richards.
But I think I think you're right. He probably would be slotted as a contender. So
Okay, I don't want to say that he never was at that level, but like the Gilman that Spencer beat, like we have to be honest with ourselves at like where he was.
he was better than 22 Gilman. I'll say that. 23 Gilman looked way better to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Won the bracket. Maybe
But I'm saying even okay, when you say 22 Gilman, you're talking about
that lost to Zane.
that's
23,
23 Gilman.
23, yeah.
23 Gilman.
No.
Well,
Oh, 23.
yeah, 2022
Yeah, my
was
bad.
when Gilman lost to Abakarov in the finals.
Yeah. 23.
So even if you put him on par with 2022 Gilman, that's a guy who lost to Abakarov handily.
Mm-hmm. True, but Abakarov might just be the guy though. He could. To
He's
me,
good.
man, as I've thought about like who is the toughest matchup for Spencer, and I'm between Abakarov and Stevan.
Why not Higuchi? Because Kozak thinks it's Higuchi.
Could be.
I think it's Gucci.
I've just seen Higuchi's had like lapses and lulls that confuse me. I think he's gonna have a harder time finishing on. I think how Abakarov scores is way more efficient and likely to give Spencer problems than Ray's, which are more. Ray's clean, like his single leg is just next level, and his high crotch and double, like he's got it all. But I think he's going to have a harder time finishing than Abakarov. If he gets to his scores, like he's already basically behind you.
Yeah.
I just think he's a more efficient scorer.
I like Higuchi's offense from the open. His ability to attack from different positions, especially from like the touches or from the open, be able to explode into Spencer the way that Zhao did.
Spencer's head hands are cleaned up. No one's beating him.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. He can't be letting guys in, willy-nilly, hardly at all. He's got to have that lockdown and get his face in the way. If he's doing that, I don't think anyone's beating him. And the reason I'm gonna ultimately, I think, pick Spencer to win is he takes everyone down. There's not a match he's not gonna get a takedown. And when he gets on top, he gets a turn in like 98% of his matches. So that's just uncanny. No one's felt what he brings from the top position in the past. But Stevan, conversely, find footage of Stevan getting turned. This is not a challenge or saying it's never happened. Find it. I mean, I went back to Dayton Fix, U.S. Open 2015, Junior Open, the last time I can remember. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. It was my last recollection of Stevan. Maybe it happened at the Olympics, but he generally just he does get scored on, but he's tough to turn, and his length's a problem. And he's crafty getting into legs. This is such a deep field. I can't wait for this one. It really is probably my favorite weight.
You want to talk about some of the other contenders like
Yeah.
Hartunian?
Hartunian's really good. Major liability in parterre defense.
Yeah.
If you recall, this was the World Semi where Dayton Fix quick, I think it's pass by and then 4 guts match over. And that's not a one-off trend. Obviously, Dayton is incredible from top, but we've seen this guy get turned consistently. But he is a tough out. But I like Spencer in a matchup against him just because he makes mistakes.
We were watching some matches and Higuchi was picking him apart with this sweep single.
Yes.
And yeah, he's a liability on parterre. So I feel like Spencer, if he ends up on the same part of the bracket as Hartunian, you're like, all right, that's good.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse for sure, Hartunian. He's big and strong. He's a 61 typically. So I think he'll be tough. If you're a USA fan, not to totally shift gears, but we can kind of make it. Which side do you think is more beneficial for Spencer to be on, top or bottom?
I think it's equal.
I kind of do too. Except no, bottom better. Abakarov and Micic.
You want the Hartunian Zhao quad.
Yeah,
That's the quad you want because Higuchi, I think, is a real threat to him, and then Stefan Micic and Abakarov are also real threats. But Hartunian and Zhao, he's got those.
Yeah, totally agree. So I think bottom, no doubt.
Plus, you probably want Hartunian like closer to the scale, as close to
Yeah.
scale as you can get him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or man, freaking Higuchi off the scale.
Yeah, good point.
Yes.
Higuchi's so big. Although he is so big, but is he really? Because Stevan made him look teeny tiny. Like so small. I'm like, is this a 48? So I don't know. But yeah, I think bottom. Abdullaev's an interesting guy. He's got some really nice moments. He's the one American fans were elated when he lost to Zaur Ugoyev at the Olympics. He had Ugoyev dead to rights, and then Ugoyev hit an inside trip, and at literally the last second, basically his time was expiring almost, to beat Abdullaev and make the finals. So it was but he's good for Uzbekistan, for sure. He was another one of the contenders, I believe, that he had down. Aman from India, he smoked Zane Richards, beat him really soundly, really physical, big, strong guy. Kind of.
We've been calling him a Monaman because of the way India like registers. They do double names.
I like
But
to go back to back.
it is Aman Sherawat. So if you hear us say
Sure.
Sherawat, that's who
Sure.
we're talking about.
Sure do.
Whatever you say. But yeah, he's tough for sure. And I think he's a guy that gets you. He's a guy, unless you smoke him 10-0, like going into your next match, you're going to be still feeling that match, right? He's, I would say he like really embodies that Indian style of wrestling, like super physical, very strong, high motor.
Also a liability in parterre though.
Yeah, not great. So that's a guy.
Abdullayev teched him.
Yeah,
I know.
you could tech smoke him for sure. Okay.
Hey, one name we haven't mentioned yet.
The chat's all over this.
I need to get your take on this. Roman Bravo Young.
Yes.
How does he do?
The chat's all over it, man. They're glad you're finally saying something about it. I mean, he's not a guy you want to get drawn in against you, I don't think. I mean,
He's in our dark horses, so
Yeah.
we were gonna get to
getting
him.
to Roman.
We were gonna get to him.
I know. The chat wanted him right away. They were
Well,
ready for him.
that's cart before the horse a little bit.
It is, but that's going to be the appeal for American fans, right? I mean, Penn
Yeah.
State, huge fan base. He hasn't done it in freestyle on the senior level at all, but we've seen how good this guy is. His ability to score from attacks and then also reattacks is insane. I don't know how much we know about him in parterre, but I don't know. He's probably my favorite one to watch in this field in terms of like intrigue and what's going to happen.
I don't know much
put
about
this.
him.
He
Not
got
only-
turned at Pan Am's.
Yeah.
He did?
So,
By
yes.
who?
Like Venezuela or something.
Mm.
So now,
He won.
who knows? Yeah, he won. He's never lost on the senior level, but he doesn't blow guys out. He gets taken down occasionally, and he gives up, a turn or two here and there, which does not give you supreme confidence in him bringing home a medal. But, I mean, this guy's a two-time NCAA champion. Like, I do think there is a little bit of gamer in him that is just like, yeah, I'm wrestling, Venezuela. Like, I'm going to win this match. So I think it'll be different come Paris. He's not a title threat. But I'll put him in my medal threat contention. I'm not predicting him to bring home a medal, but he winds up in a bronze match. I'm not surprised.
He has a win over Loper. You know that, right?
Which Chaser? He beat the Chaser in France.
That's right. Like 1-1 or 2-1.
It was 2-1. I think it was
No
all,
offensive points.
It was
it was
brutal.
all passivity points.
Brutal. And that's the thing. He's going to have to win a certain kind of match. I feel like right now Roman can win a certain kind of match, but it's kind of like this it's very controlled, not a ton of exchanges, right? Like he's really picking his spots. I don't know if he's preserving his tank and he's like really concerned because everyone knows that the cut's going to be tough for Roman at 57. Is he just a little concerned now? And is that concern going to wane as he gets to Paris and he's had a couple more weigh-ins and this will be the best time for his best weigh-in. He's going to feel his best. That's potentially true too. We've seen Stevan is able to navigate it and look really good at 57 kilograms. Can Roman do that similarly? Because if so, then I still don't think he's going to be like a Terminator that's scoring like tons of points on guys, but his reattacks and his counter scores are really good. He can generate. I think honestly his ability to shoot and drive, if he can get step outs, he can kind of accumulate points. But he is right now a total unknown in this game, and we're having to guess a lot. And if the chat can point to some example that we're missing that says, other than him beating Dayton Fix in a folk style match, bring it up.
Well, Avery Gaming says his gas tank is ready. So
Wow.
take it to the bank.
Well, I didn't know that. You're telling me that for the first time.
Now you know.
Okay. No.
Arzazadeh also a dark horse, as well as Zhao.
Yeah, I mean, Zhao's tough. I mean, I think of the dark horses, Roman is the one that I believe has the potential to be the most dangerous.
I think Arzadeh got up on Higuchi like 8-0 at what tournament was that at? So the
Midlands?
The rankings.
the rankings tournament. Yeah, Midlands. And then Higuchi ended up coming back, but dude's legit.
Higuchi randomly gets in these like firefights.
Yes.
Like every now and again, he just goes nuts.
Well, that one was a takedown and 3 laces.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he got taken down a bunch of
Yeah, I know. Higuchi had a 16-14 match with Hartunian at Worlds last year.
Oh yeah.
That was a great match.
It was
we
awesome.
watched that like a week or so ago. It was so fun. Well, he got like forward immediately. Like both, he got picked up in a double, and like both his feet are like way up in the air. It looked like how I would like double leg Caleb and just, like a little boy. But, anyway, okay, 57 is so great. What's the next kind of thing? We should give Kozak's prediction here. This is his official prediction. Then we could do ours. Spencer Lee, gold medal. USA champion. Show me, not this guy. Silver, Zelim Abakarov. Bronze, Stefan Micic. Bronze, Rei Higuchi. That is the medal table for John Kozak.
He's predicting Abakarov to beat Stevan, and I think that is blasphemy.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like I mentioned, it was sort of a one exchange really decided it. But then again, I can say that 1,000 times, like, oh, it was just because Stevan hit this chest wrap. That's what Stevan does. He is really a really tricky counter wrestler. And I mean, that's how he's pretty sure he had a good one against Agoyev as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just
Chest wrap against Agoyev? I don't know.
not tripping there.
You might be right. You might be
Could be
right.
thinking about Abakarov.
No, you're right.
But he hits it pretty routinely. He had a great counter score against Higuchi, where he sat to the corner and got two. Like, that's just Stevan's really, really good there.
But you ask me who I'm more comfortable with, what side I would have liked to see him on. I would have liked to see him on the same side as Higuchi instead of Abakarov.
Are you talking about
Matchup
who
wise,
you
for
talking
Stevan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Abakarov beat him in 2022 pretty handily, and then it was a close match this past year, and I just feel like Stevan could figure it out easier against Higuchi.
Kind of a reverse situation in the Abakarov Micic first meeting, because it was a counter. I think it was a chest wrap from Abakarov that got two.
I haven't gone back and watched.
It was Stevan was on the leg and he got counter scored for two, and it was one. If Stevan finishes that, then he's either winning or he's like within a point. And then it was one. It made it like 5-1 or something like that. I think it would have made it 3-3.
I remember feeling like he was scoring off of Stevan's attacks in their match in 2022, and Stevan did a good job of being patient, forcing him to kind of attack in the last meeting.
Yeah, and also I give Stevan a lot of credit in his ability to finish shots and not get counter scored. And his length is just such a just his ability to just like be extended on shots and still be really, really tough to counter is a huge, huge attribute he has. He really is. I think if you did like have a gold medal favorite, like betting ones, if you were making the betting lines, which is something we should maybe make JD do, because he's our resident betting lines maker. I think it would be Stevan.
Yeah.
Is that what you would think?
That's what I would think.
You know,
You know how biased I am.
who do you think the favorite would be?
Who would you make it?
Yeah, James Dean.
I don't know.
What do you think, Bray? Because you got to know.
Yeah, you got to go Stevan. I mean, he's a returning champ. He went on a run.
He literally beat all the guys.
You got to do it. You got to make him the betting lines favorite.
If you don't make it Stevan, you would have to make it like Spencer.
But if you make it Stevan, a lot of people are gonna bet against him. I think a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. People laugh at the idea of Spencer not winning the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I mean, he definitely can, guys. But there's just, what was the last thing I got fired up about? Where just people just, oh yeah, Zane, bad draw. Oh yeah, that was Shane with the bad draw thing. It's like, you guys don't understand the level here. It's like, this is a really good weight. And Spencer,
Well, I get frustrated because I've seen people in the comments of our Instagram arguing about like Aaron Brooks versus Spencer Lee, or like who will do better at the Olympics, and they'll be like, well, this guy Aaron's a 4-time national champion, Spencer's only a 3-time, like, so Aaron will do better at the Olympics than Spencer will. Like, the idea that how many national titles you win has a correlation, or like will directly impact your success at the international level. I'm sure there's correlation.
I would say that there's a
Forget that I
Well,
said that.
no,
What I'm saying is like the idea that you can just make assumptions off of how they will do at the international level because of how many national titles they've won. Like, newsflash, Jordan Burroughs won 2. He didn't win 4. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Newsflash, buddy.
People make me mad because like he's a 4-time national champ. He'll definitely win gold. Whatever. Like,
Well, they just don't know.
they just don't know.
They just don't know. It's okay.
It's not FRL
Listen,
listeners. It's
that's
not
what-
FRL listeners.
This is
and
what
that's
you're.
what I should realize.
This is what you're for, Tyler.
Yes.
You're supposed to bridge that gap. the Gen Z, know nothing, Instagram, TikTokers. That's what you said you were gonna do. You said, I'm going to educate the masses.
I did.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, saying like Aaron Brooks won 4 NCAA titles, so he's automatically going to win the Olympics. That's obviously a crazy take. But to say that there's no correlation between like success.
No,
at
shut
the
up. There's a
NCAA,
correlation.
college
obviously.
wrestling, and then having success later.
But
And there are
Obviously, but the
exceptions to that.
amount, I get frustrated that people who think that the amount of NCAA titles should impact it. Like,
Yeah, of course.
if a guy who peaked at an NCAA title his senior year versus a guy who won it 4 times, like they might have reached the same peak. They both ended their careers in the same
It's
place.
just because Miles and Stevan never.
Correct.
Yeah,
What?
Okay, got it. Nothing.
Neither of them won titles.
I know.
And they have
That's-
had better
that's your
international-
point.
They have had better international.
Well, that's not what. This
careers.
is not what I'm talking about at all. I get fired up thinking about like the idea, like this guy is blind to the fact that Jordan Burroughs won 2 national titles and went on to have this
Yeah, they
success
don't
that
know
he did,
that.
and then a guy like Yanni won 4 and has a world silver, like hasn't done that yet. So, like I think people just assume that. I don't know. I don't know why people assume that stuff.
There's also like just a gap. Like Zane Rutherford was probably one of the top 3 or 4 greatest college wrestlers ever. And it took him, I mean, first of all, the dude made a world team in 2017 after his like junior year. But for him to get to that, to translate it all, there is sometimes a gap, right?
Curve, a learning curve.
Yeah. Okay.
We want to give our predictions.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any next things? I think that was it. Yeah, we can do our predictions. This is so hard. I don't even want to do this.
Coward.
But we should. But, all right. Courageous one. You shaved your head bald. You have more courage than all of us.
It's true.
Although you immediately went back on it. I think you're gonna grow it back out.
Immediately went back on it. What do you mean? I didn't regrow my hair
Oh,
very long in
Oh yeah.
4 days.
You should do the Artie.
Still gone.
You should have the Artie Bucco. I kind of like that too. I like that. You should just shave this part bald and just so you can have like the Artie Bucco.
Well, I don't. It's getting there on its own.
Okay. You don't need to help it.
Yeah, it doesn't need performance enhancers. I'm gonna say I'll get my predictions first. I'm a man. I'm gonna go Higuchi gold,
Wow.
Abakarov silver, Mičić and Spencer bronze. I also think if you wrestle this bracket 10 times, you're gonna get 3 or 4 different champs. Like I think Spencer would win one time, but he's just a guy and I need to see it done first. The match with Zhao does scare me, whether it should or not. And I have no data to back up this take, but I'm just gonna say it that Japan lightweights ball out at the Olympics. They're just really good in general, but I feel like they always perform really well at the Olympics.
I don't think they did great last one at 57. It was
They did.
Takahashi,
Takahashi beat Stevan first round though.
and then he got eliminated.
Yeah.
But they won
Still have
65.
Yeah.
I said lightweights. Plural.
Higuchi.
I'm throwing that in. I'm not just saying 57.
Higuchi won or not won. He earned a silver medal at 2016 Olympics.
Yes, he did.
At this weight.
So
He was right there to beat Kenchikashvili. That was a passivity point, like kind of a late pass, and he was kind of just stalling a little bit, Higuchi, but he was right there to win the Olympics in 16. I do not think he's going to win this weight.
he does have variance in performances and gives up some points, so makes you worried, but like I said.
We've got a lot of good rookie debuts for legends. We've seen it many times, and I think we're gonna have another one here with Spencer Lee. I think he's gonna win. I think it's a point scoring contest, and I think he's got the ability to outscore them all. And so I think it's him. Now it's tricky because he could be anywhere in this bracket, and so I'm saying a silver that he could be on the same side of, which would make it not happen. But I'm gonna say Spencer, Stevan, Higuchi, Abakarov are my 4. And I feel
Same 4 different order.
same 4 different order.
We all have the same 4.
And I have a hard time. I think people are going to have a hard time getting a different 4th in there. Now, 2 separate things. I think it's probably unlikely that's going to be the 4 just from the random draw aspect.
Correct.
And also, things happen. But it's sort of hard to put a different 4 in there, especially from an American perspective.
That feels like one tier. Then there's a tier 2 with like Artunian and Azerbaijan and Abdullayev, those kind of guys. Those 4, and maybe put RBY in that tier as well. But
Yeah,
those 4 kind of feel like on their own tier.
totally agree. Yeah, very interesting. For as great as the weight is, it feels like it's those 4.
Yeah, I think when we first saw the seeds, for this weight, we're like, or Kozak came on. He said, yeah, I think Spencer wants to be on the top side. He doesn't want to be on the bottom side with Higuchi. I think we all kind of disagree right now. We all think that being on the bottom side would be better than being on the same side with Miocic.
I didn't necessarily say I thought Higuchi was not a good matchup, but I said you'd still rather be in the quadrant above Higuchi.
Yeah, so I think where we all want Spencer to be is in that quadrant with Hartunian and Zhao.
I don't give a rip. But
so that's where I'm going to assume he is for purpose of this rankings, right? I'm going to go. I'm going to go Abakarov bronze.
Oh, he's going reverse order.
Yeah, Higuchi
I wonder
bronze.
who's going to take for gold?
Spencer silver, Miocic gold.
And I maybe have already said this. I view Miocic, Abakarov, and Higuchi as pretty similar threats to him.
Yeah.
The bummer is if Spencer is on the top side, one of those guys will walk away without a medal.
Yep.
And that's
Probably Muhammad of Egypt.
It's looking like Gama Muhammad. Yeah, Gama Muhammad. I'm starting to think his chances are not very good.
I don't think he's finishing top 8
And
again.
because of the Repshot system, that's why you really want to be in that quadrant with Zhao and Hartunian, because then you feel good about getting pulled back in,
Yeah.
at least. But if you lose to Abakarov first round and then he gets got by Miocic,
Yeah. Yeah.
no medal.
Man, do you think this is the most is this the weight that has the most fan intrigue? I kind of think
For
so.
There's
Americans,
the most Americans in it.
Yeah, but I mean we are
Right?
we are the fan base of wrestling.
That's what I'm saying. It has the most Americans in
Yeah, but I mean
an Olympic bracket.
because like another American threat is Stefan, so that's a decent pull that
This is
you
the
don't have
most
at other
intriguing.
weights.
Roman.
Hands down, this is the most
Yes.
intriguing because everyone wants to know what Spencer Lee is going to look like. But that's just one of many storylines in
Yes.
this. If it just had Spencer Lee and that's it, and it's Spencer Lee's first Olympics, that alone
Yes.
would bring this way towards the top of the list. And then you throw in RBY. Where is he going to be? You throw in, I mean, we haven't even mentioned Darian Cruz, like made us wait to get into the Olympics till later. That's a guy that nobody's going to be, expecting to probably like place in this bracket, but another guy you got to look at. Stefan's the 1 seed, plus everybody likes, Higuchi, Hartunian, Abakarov. So 100%. This is the most intriguing.
Plus, we lost Dake Sidakov, which was a huge pull for Americans, and the return of Sadulayev and Snyder and Tazudinov, that little triangle there. So those were maybe the other two really big storylines.
and I'll say no Taylor Yazdani.
And no
That
Taylor
was a
Yazdani.
super hype match every time, even though it's like we kind of know what's going to happen here. It's like that's the match you got.
I would argue there's more intrigue in 86 now because there's no Taylor and because it's Aaron.
I
who's
don't think
unknown.
so. No.
Hey, take number
you-
2 where you can put on the speed dealers or the dumb helmet.
Yeah.
Are you joking? You're not more. Okay, we've seen David beat Yazdani a million times. I'm not putting them
But on the speed dealers.
You're going to make this point. You got to put on the speed dealers.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like Tyler likes putting on the
we've
speed
seen-
dealers.
It's for your own good.
We've seen Taylor beat Yazdani, especially after watching him beat him in 2022 and 2023, like dominantly. If he was going to be the guy that we were sending to the Olympics this year, he'd be like, all right, David Taylor, Olympic gold. But now Aaron Brooks is going, and you're like, what does he look like against Yazdani? I'm way more curious to see what match 1 of Brooks versus Yazdani looks like than match like 10 of Taylor Yazdani.
Hardcore fans are definitely more interested in it because they don't know. But in terms of overall broadness, like I bet the Olympic channel was super bummed that
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was literally one of
happening.
the reps that they
Ambassadors.
brought in. Yeah.
This guy knows hardcore, though. Look at him.
Yeah.
Get a close up.
Oh,
This is a hardcore. Look at this dude.
dang.
Man, this is dangerous.
Wow. Look at him. Dang.
Man.
You see that guy?
I said you should have had to put on the dumb take helmet to protect what little brain cells you have left.
No,
You see that guy? You see that guy?
He's courageous. Dang. He won't break.
No, he
He's
won't.
got that little snarl on the left side. That's it.
You see that guy skateboarding down a parking garage ramp. You're
you're
getting
like-
out of the way.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm throwing a little rock and hoping he goes over it.
Oh my gosh, like a Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I'm right, and you guys know
Branches.
it.
I get why you think.
More fan interest.
I understand. No, not more fan interest.
Yes.
Hardcore fans are more excited for it,
Yes.
but
Yeah,
Those are the ones we're speaking
that's who you're
to.
talking to. No,
Those are our,
No,
that's
you're-
our audience right now.
that's true. We have a hardcore audience. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you gotta. That's why you have to look so edgy all the
I'm
time.
glad you guys admitted I'm right.
No. Okay. Did we do 57? Do you want to get?
Give me Spencer Lee.
Oh,
Spencer
let's
Lee's gonna
go.
win this bracket. I'm feeling bad because he's gonna take out Gamil Muhammad first round, but then he's gonna have to beat Stevan in a tight one. That's a quarterfinal. He's gonna win the bracket. He's gonna beat Higuchi in the finals. Hard Tunian bronze.
So you want him to beat Stevan Abakar?
I don't want him to. He
just
got drawn in with Gamil Muhammad, the 8 seed from Egypt.
And then he's running the gauntlet.
Yeah, I didn't say what I don't want anything. I just
That'd be
want.
legendary.
That would be like the
the scenario
Stevan.
you're painting for us.
That would be like the Stevan gauntlet last year if he
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
that one.
it would be.
Goes to Stevan.
Well, you
Abakar.
forgot Muhammad. Muhammad first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting Gamal Muhammad.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to questions from friends?
How much are we gonna cry if he like steps over on a Spencer gut?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
But the American
You
fans.
just said that. You just put that out in the ether.
Yeah,
That's not how.
crazy.
That's not how it works, you lunatics. You guys still,
All
have,
right, if it happens,
this is
it's on
wood.
you.
still have nightlights.
This is wood. That's all I'm saying.
I,
You're really not going to knock
I'm
that
not
wood.
knocking it. No,
I'm not going to knock that wood.
I don't knock wood.
That's some kind of
I
composite.
revere
anyway.
wood. I revere wood.
That's some kind of composite material.
Yeah, it's not real.